So one of the things that I had thought about is that going back and listening to the stuff that I have recorded might help me in some way, right? Or it might be interesting. And now that I'm doing some of that because I'm getting ready to upload and publish all this stuff and just get it out there, I'm going through some of the videos that the script generated. And it is actually kind of fun, like obviously there's a lot of random rambling and things that don't make sense or places where I make mistakes. And I guess that was by design, right? But at the same time, it's kind of inspirational because I am seeing how I forgot some of the thoughts that I had and some of the reasoning and why I was a little bit excited of how this was experiment was going. I kind of been more of a negative loop lately, especially when I woke up kind of feeling kind of bad and just like thinking of dread and how this experiment can be depressing or bad. But I haven't really looked at the highlights or the key or the not even highlights, just the positive sides of it, right? Like the things that have happened. And it's just clear that one of the things that has happened is I found a way, which is voice, and I keep saying this, but I think for me, I need to keep reminding myself of things. I need to keep going back of and pointing to the thing that made something great for me, right? And what was that insight? And I keep forgetting it. And just the fact that I used to try to journal, but it was done on a computer, and I've done it, like I've done it throughout the last even 2 years where I would be writing down what I did for the day and try, but I wouldn't do it that well, and I would stop, right? Like I would keep that in my meditative practice or just thinking about it randomly before I could fall asleep. And now, kind of falling asleep while I'm recording or doing both, right? Reviewing and then recording and feeding back and forth. I'm realizing that the experiment and the takeaway is that I could just pull out my phone, and even though it's gonna be, random noises from moving the phone or whatever, and it's gonna be chaotic. I do like this because um, you know, people always talk about how inspiration is fickle, and if you don't go do something like specifically, I remember Naval saying that recently in the podcast, like he did, was that it'll burn out, right? Like it'll fizzle out. I mean, it'll just won't it won't be there anymore when you might actually want to do that thing again because you thought it was a cool idea, but now you're not as inspired. And I do think this is partly true. I think the problem is that sometimes I wrestle with the idea of the contrast one, which is like many people talk about in the art scene or the art space or whatever community, um, the art community about how you want to schedule your time and force yourself to do the work, right? And that the muse won't come unless you force yourself to do it. And so they're conflicting ideas. I am personally more in the camp of you do have to force yourself. I think for this stuff that I'm doing now, which is more stream consciousness, I by design kind of don't have to force myself except to record it because it's just what's coming to mind. And but what I am realizing is that I am able to put out the thoughts that maybe I wanted to make a video out of many for a long time, right? But I never did. And I even have one that I kind of pulled back called Enigmas, which maybe I'll bring back because I just was my thinking is not very polished, but maybe the way I can think about it is this is an experiment. I'm just gonna get it out there, and even if I have to revisit these themes over and over again and eventually do a more polished version of, for example, the Enigma video, I'll just do that. And it doesn't matter because at least I got one version out there, even if it's the crappiest version, doesn't make sense to anybody but me, and it's just a simple draft. At least it is out there in some form, which before it probably would never even get done to that form at all. Like it would just live in the back of my mind as something I always wanted to put out there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about now is that the process of actually re-listening back to my own recordings is really helpful. But even just recording by voice, I think it's a better fit for me. And it just makes me think about how different artists have different ways. I guess Eminem is known to do a lot of writing by on his notebooks and fill them out. JC style is more like riffing from his mind and just coming up with the lyrics in a completely different manner. And I'm sure there's many people who do way different styles as well. So that's something that I guess I gotta keep experimenting. Maybe there's another form that I'm not even thinking about yet that I could try later on. Like, I guess writing by hand I have done in the past, but maybe revisiting that now. Maybe doing dual modes, right? Maybe trying to write by hand while I'm thinking out loud into the voice recorder. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now.